Welcome to Upper Valley Access.
Your monthly video magazine. So a lot happened this month, Emily.
Yeah, so Brianna Spangler, one of our producers, she filmed a really powerful event at Colburn Park. It was a ceremony honoring patients in hospice care, their families, the nurses that they spend time with, and they had a beautiful butterfly releasing ceremony. It's really powerful. And then Jill Stein, a third-party presidential candidate, came to South Royalton to the Vermont Law School, and she gave her views on the upcoming presidential election and why she thinks she may be the best candidate for you.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Wings of Hope Memorial event. Appreciate so much you joining us again this year for our 7th annual event. Today we're here to remember our loved ones. We often refer to the dying process as a journey. I read a recent article that characterized the end of life as follows. For some, it is swift and unexpected, while for others it's the sound of a distant thunder at a picnic. While for the majority of us, it is likely that death will come at the end of a well-worn downhill staircase. As our time winds down, we become less interested in grand achievements and accumulation and more interested in the joy of simply being.
Nearly every culture and religion view butterflies as a symbol of transformation and the spiritual journey of souls from life to death, and often to a rebirth of some sort. It is no wonder the life cycle of a monarch butterfly is a study in courage, strength, and allowing nature to guide life. We too complete a cycle of life that necessitates a transformation from one state of being to another. And it takes a great deal of courage to see this process through. There are angels all around us. They just have human faces. The faces of hospice patients, hospice families, and hospice workers.
People come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them. And we help them in return. And while I don't know if it is true, I know that I am who I am today because I knew you. To all of the patients whose lives I had the honor to cross and the deaths to witness, I thank you. For because of you, I am who I am today, a hospice nurse. Thank you.
I encourage you today, as you release these butterflies, to know that you too are transformed. Grief is sharp and hard, and yet, like butterflies, we wrap ourselves, cocooning ourselves in the memories, sometimes the painful memories, most often the wonderful memories, the love that we shared with the one that we have lost. And in that cocooning, the pain and the roughness is smoothed out and softened until finally we are able to burst free from pain and rejoice in a new life on gossamer wings, bringing with us those who have gone before us, for they live always right here in our hearts, companioning us, comforting us, caring for us as we continue on our journeys. Today, friends, be butterflies and fly free.
Niles. Put him in the box. I'm allergic to exercise. My heart rate goes up, I get sweaty, I get red, I get trembly, all the signs of a classic allergy reaction. That's what happens to me when I exercise. I don't like it. I've never liked it. I still don't like it. But what I've found here is exercise that I can do and exercise that I see helping me.
My name is Betty Waterman, and I joined PALS because I'm a breast cancer survivor, and I wanted to do more after breast cancer to help prevent a reoccurrence, but also to just feel better.
So September of 2015, I joined the group, and it has been a real change in my life, wonderful change. The friends that I have made in this program, the support that we give each other is just, it's overwhelming, it's just wonderful. And like I said, Erin is just the best. She's so compassionate.
She's so patient with us. And if for some reason we're not able to quite do an exercise yet, our body isn't quite ready, then she modifies it.
When I first called Erin, I remember I was a little like, well, I don't know if I have time, I need to work, and I don't know if I can squeeze it in. And she was like, Lynn, it's 3 hours out of your whole week. And so she was kind of like not going to take no from my hesitation. And thank God, because I'm so happy that I'm part of this program.
I think what's been hard asking for help is when I was going through chemo, I just felt so terrible, both physically and emotionally. It was hard for me to get the words out that I needed more help. Fortunately, my husband could see that I did and was there to support me and get me what I needed. So I think that was the hardest part, was the 5 months of chemotherapy.
One of the things that makes it hard is I don't ask for help, I don't take help, I give it. I help you, you don't help me. So asking for help is a major problem in my life. And the second one was I didn't quite know who to ask. It's like, oops, phone line's down, internet's down, cable's down. There's no connection with what I'm supposed to do now. It's an incredible group. We deal with all of the things about life, about sick dogs and non-functioning automobiles and all the life things. But we also talk about this disease that we have had and which we are struggling not to have again. We're working on preventing a recurrence. And some of the questions, when we start talking about it, are truly incredible. One woman asked, what was the best thing that happened to you as a result of your breast cancer? And I would never have thought of best thing. Least bad was about as good as I could. And when we started talking, there are some wonderful things that came out of it. We learned so much about ourselves and our strengths and our weaknesses and how we cope and how we can do it better. We've laughed and cried and giggled in a way that only breast cancer survivors with other breast cancer survivors can do. It's just been a wonderful experience. It really is, even though I still hate exercise.
And I say I'm in this race because I'm a mother on fire, you know, which I think all of us are, whether we're mothers, fathers, sons, or daughters. You know, we're on fire. If our eyes are open, we need to be on fire. If we are going to save the planet, if we are going to save our economy, if we're going to save democracy, if we're going to save human rights. You know, there's a famous quote from Louis Brandeis, the Supreme Court Justice, that we have a choice between democracy or vast concentrations of wealth. Well, that wealth has been really concentrating here, you know, for many decades, basically since the last crash in the 1930s, followed by some protections that have been unraveling ever since. And now we have really come to a real tipping point, and we have to decide which way we are going to tip. You know, are we going to take back this promise of democracy and create an economy that works for all of us, create an energy policy that zeroes out fossil fuels by 2030? We call for an emergency phase out of our fossil fuels, 100% clean renewable energy by 2030. That's what the science tells us we have to do. We have to stop these endless expanding wars, these wars on terror that in fact have created more terror while they bankrupt our budget and make us in the words of the rest of the world and in polls, we are now perceived as the greatest threat to world peace. So we call for an end to this catastrophic foreign policy, which is also catastrophic to the climate. And what are they fighting about anyhow? Fossil fuels and their routes of transportation. So how about instead of investing in the lethal destruction of our future, instead we demilitarize our foreign policy and render the whole fossil fuel conflict moot and obsolete. And we put those dollars into true security, not just us, but the Russians and the Chinese, who are having lots of problems of their own with their economies. They cannot afford their military budgets, which are a very small fraction of ours, a tiny fraction. And you know, if we were all investing in our own emergency energy transitions, fighting against our common enemy, our greatest common enemy ever known to humanity, that is climate change, catastrophic climate change, you know, what a different future we would have. So, you know, we're here, our campaign is here, I'm a mother on fire, and, you know, I think there are so many other mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers on fire out there that we actually do have the power to take our democracy back and to do that in real time. And let me just say, to get in one last issue and then I'll open the floor, but there are 43 million young people and not so young people who are trapped in predatory student loan debt with no way out except through our campaign, which will bail out the students like we bailed out the crooks on Wall Street. It's about time to bail out the victims of Wall Street. It's a tiny fraction of the cost, and it is the stimulus package of our dreams. We know that for every dollar we put into higher education, we get back $7 in return, and those are hard facts from the GI Bill following the Second World War. So this pays for itself many times over. We can come up with the 1.5 trillion, a small fraction of the 16 trillion that we came up with for the guys peddling the waste, fraud, and abuse on Wall Street. So we can do this, and this is not something you need to keep a secret, and that is that there are enough people locked into that debt. That alone is a winning plurality of the presidential race in a three-way vote. So if we actually got the word out to the people for whom this is, in my experience, an irresistible reason to come out and vote green in 2016 and to tell all your friends, because friends don't let friends stay home in debt, in 2016, we could actually bring out enough people to take over this election.
and to win it, not only to cancel student debt, to make public higher education free, to create health care as a human right through Medicare for all, to launch a Green New Deal, to create a welcoming path to citizenship, to put an end to police violence and the racist war on drugs, and a foreign policy based on international law and human rights, not on economic and military domination. So in short, we can have an America and a world that works for all of us, that puts people, planet, and peace over profit, and the power to create that world is not just relegated to our hopes and our dreams. That power is actually right here, right now, at the Vermont School of Law and beyond. That power is in our hands. Thank you very much.
So, comes but once a year, the spooky film competition.
Spectacular
competition of the season, the year. Halloween-a-thon. Was approaching, and now it is upon us. This Friday, September 30th, is the kickoff meeting, mandatory for each team leader. We are so excited to get everyone in the room and reveal the required elements. We won't tell you until Friday. But it's still time. You still have time to register if you're interested in participating. Emily put together this pretty awesome teaser that gives a little highlight of what to expect. Do you want to say anything about it?
I think that it's going to be a pretty spooky time.
Yeah, maybe the spookiest ever. We'll see.
Thanks for watching Upper Valley Access. Be sure to come visit us in the Tip Top Media Building, 85 North Main Street, White River Junction.
Look at the river as it winds down the rise like a tear going down Cheekside Creek to the body of blood salted gold and holding the life of our own. Though we do not look at the river as it winds down the rise like a tear going down Cheekside Creek to the body of blood salted gold and holding the life of our own. Though we do not look at the river as it winds down the rise like a tear going down Cheekside Creek to the body of blood salted gold and holding the life of our own. Though we do not look at the river as it winds down the rise like a tear going down Cheekside Creek to the body of blood salted